Welcome back to Nerd Safari. I'm Simon.
I'm Ellie.
And if you enjoy this video, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell thing. That would be very kind of you indeed. And we just got back from a trip to jolly old London, where we saw the jolly old Back to the Future, the musical. And it's funny, you know, when I tell people we've seen Back to the Future, the musical, the responses range from, oh my god, that sounds amazing, to, they made a Back to the Future musical? Great Scott! So therefore, we wanted to share with you a no spoilers review of our impression of the Back to the Future, the musical. And we're going to break this into a few parts. We're going to talk about the storyline, again, no spoilers. We're going to talk about the actors and the acting. We're going to talk about the music, and we're going to talk about the set and like the stage design and the construction of the whole thing. So starting off with the storyline, what did you think of Back to the Future, the musical, and how faithful do you think it was to the original movie that we all know and I assume love?
It was a lot closer than I was expecting when we were talking about going to see it. I thought they would have to change it pretty significantly, just given the scope of that story and what you're able to achieve on a stage. But I was really, really impressed at just how many of the same beats that they hit. It was almost identical, but I mean, there were a few changes, weren't there?
Yeah, certainly they modernized a couple of things, and again, no spoilers, but you can imagine in this day and age with the kind of events going on in the world, probably making Libyans the bad guys is not going to sit well with a lot of people. So as you can imagine, there were just some tweaks. If you don't have the Libyans as the bad guys, then what happens to Doc Brown? So you can see how some of the tweaks they made fed into others. But really, it felt a lot like Back to the Future. You knew what was coming, and yet somehow you felt really, really invested, like emotionally invested in that storyline, just like you did when you watched the original movie in the 1980s. So I think, to me, the storyline really, really worked.
Hey, McFly! I thought I told you never to come in here.
If they don't meet, they won't fall in love, they won't get married, and neither you nor your siblings will ever be born.
I think one of the things that really made this performance work were the actors. Like, they really had so much energy, like they really inhabited the characters, and they were a little bit of a caricature of the characters from the original movie, but in a way that really worked. Like, they really embodied the characters from the movie, but in a way that was kind of over the top, but in a way that really worked on stage. Like, it really communicated to the audience exactly who those characters were.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the standouts, you had Ben Joyce, who was playing Marty McFly, who may not necessarily look like Michael J. Fox, but certainly, as you say, gave the same energy. You had Corey English, who played Doc Brown, who was just probably one of the most standout performances that I've seen in any musical. But then you had Oliver Nicholas, who played George McFly, and as you say, again, while he may not have exactly looked like George McFly, he just created this nervous, anxious energy and the kind of vocal stutters and things that you just remember from the movie, and you were right back there in the 1980s with George McFly. The acting, I thought, was absolutely fantastic. So then let's talk about the music itself. This is a musical, and it's based on a movie with one of the most iconic scores of all time. Both the orchestral music and the music that they kind of brought in, like The Power of Love. So what did you think of the actual musical numbers of this show?
I thought it was really interesting. I tend to be a bit wary about musicals just because sometimes the songs can just feel a bit shoehorned in when you would kind of maybe... I would prefer just some dialogue, but I thought I really liked having the songs that they licensed. That was really fun, and like they performed those really well. But the ones that were written for the show were really powerful. Like, they were really catchy, and it didn't feel clunky in turning like a regular movie into a musical. It didn't feel kind of shoehorned in. Like, it was just, they were, because of the energy of the characters as well, I think, and the performers were having so much fun with it. Having these kind of fun, bouncy musical numbers really worked.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there were definitely themes, like certainly the orchestral score that you know and love from the Back to the Future movie. it comes back again and again through the musical numbers. It's certainly echoed there, which I think is really smart. As are some of the songs, like The Power of Love, that you remember. You'll certainly find moments to love within the musical numbers. For me, Goldie Wilson, whether or not he is mayor, he has some fantastic, both musical numbers all his own, but also moments in other musical numbers that really jumped out to me. And Doc Brown, again, he is such a lovable character in this musical. And there's a moment directly after the intermission where he has a song all about time travel, and he just crushes it in that song. And really, like, I would guarantee to you that if you love the original Back to the Future, you will be dancing and clapping in the aisles of the theater by the time that show finishes. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that the music is that good.
You don't need money, don't take fame, don't need no credit card to ride this train.
Cool, so let's talk about the actual set. And again, really no spoilers here, because there are some amazing things that they do with that set. But what jumped out at you about the set or the stage design for this musical?
I think one of the things that I've really started to appreciate now we've been going out to the theatre a bit more regularly is noticing how they can do so much with fairly little. Like, you're limited on space because you've only got that stage, and you kind of, and also like in the wings you don't have much storage necessarily for kind of big set pieces. And I just felt like they were so economical with the set pieces that they did have, but they were so powerful. And when they were, you know, being a school, for example, or being the cafe that they go to, it was such powerful imagery with fairly limited set pieces. But one of the things that I really loved is having the performers themselves be part of the transition. So when they were moving from one scene to another, but they were in the middle of a performance, like in the middle of a song, it might change location. And then the characters were kind of seamlessly running across in front of each other, and then the person in the back would be kind of like moving the stage stuff around. And it was such a powerful transition to have it being that dynamic when you're actually watching it. And it's almost like it just kind of like fades out and then fades into this new scene, just because of how seamlessly they're just pushing these set pieces around. It was incredible, just making it part of the choreography.
Yeah, it really was. And I think they had such a smart blend of practical effects and practical items on the stage, combined with special effects in the background to really give you, because obviously, you know, there's only so much of Hill Valley that you can create on a small Broadway stage, but they really did the best, to your point, of maximizing the use of that real estate. And there are so many moments where the stage twists and turns and you're not even sure what's foreground, what's background, where the actor's going to pop out. It really was inspired. It's one of the most dynamic and interesting stages that I've ever seen.
Good evening. This is Dr. Emmett L. Brown, and this is my time machine.
A time machine?
Well, overall impressions, and if somebody were to ask you, should I go see Back to the Future the musical, what would your answer be, and what would your rationale for that answer be?
I would say definitely. I think I've had a few friends who have gone to see it who aren't huge Back to the Future fans the way we are, and they've really appreciated just the quality of the effort that's gone into the set design, the choreography, all of it, and the power of the performers. I had a friend who went to the New York showing recently and said it was a very similar thing, with the actors having really powerful energy and just really embodying those characters in a really fun way that you can tell how much fun they're having. So I do feel like it works regardless of how you feel about the original Back to the Future movie. I think this is just it's such a solid transition to have it as a musical on stage. And just the effort that's gone into the set design and everything, I definitely think it's worth watching.
You're slacker, McFly.
I would agree. I mean, to me, the original movie, Back to the Future, was just a magical movie. Probably one of the greatest movies ever made, in a lot of people's opinion. And I think to be able to take that core DNA, do something slightly refreshingly different with it, different enough that it feels like a fresh spin, but also so faithful to the original, I think you then create something that's going to have nostalgia and fan service to the old-timers like us who love the original movie, but is also going to be approachable to people who have not seen the original or don't know it as well and don't get every reference. But yeah, I would highly recommend it as a good time.
It's strong and it's sudden and it's cruel sometimes, but it might just save your life. That's the power of love.
So there you go. That is what Nerd Safari think of Back to the Future, the musical. As you can see, we're big fans of it, and we hope you're big fans of this video. If so, like and subscribe, and we will see you next time, friends, on the next Nerd Safari.
Peace out, nerds.